decisive witness. You're as good as they say you are. So someone else was in the room the night of the crime. That must mean they witnessed the crime. Yeah, that's a witness. That's a witness, Apollo. Everything up till now has been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready? Very well, the prosecution may call its first witness to the stand.
The witness will state her name and profession.
Hold on just a moment. Where's the witness? I surmise that she has been frightened by the defense demonic-looking horns. So I used a little hair gel. Relax, people. Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this court will cut them off.
You are sure?
I swear it's on my gavel. Please, come out. Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor?
Well, if you are sure it is okay.
Now, the prosecution. What? Wait a minute. Would the prosecution care to explain the witness's, paraphernalia?
Yes. She is a professional, Your Honor. Those are merely the tools of her trade.
And that would be...
My name is Olga Orly.
Olga Orly. Is that a pun?
I'm employed as waitress in Borscht Bowl Club restaurant.
Then why the camera?
Of course, it is my pride to serve borscht at this naming restaurant, but I also perform, how is it said, other service.
I take it one of these other services is taking the customer's pictures?
Like for example, this one.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
That's the defendant?
Indeed, on the night of the murder, man in white hat is one who had gone kaput.
Indeed, that is the victim. Murder. This is quite a piece of evidence to casually drop into our laps.
It's the same way as I drop cold bowls of borscht on laps of customers, casually.
Then the court will casually accept this as new evidence.
Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder? I was in room, the hideout, we call it.
Excuse me, the hideout?
It is room where famous gangster, bad guy, was arrested. Is room where murder took place.
What?
Your look of utter surprise, it is lovely. I will post my courtroom
Donator for you.
Photos will be numbered and you will write which ones you want copy of.
So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Shadi Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga Orly, our witness. If Mr. Wright isn't the killer, then that means... Very well, witness. You will testify to the court about that night's events. That fateful night. Witness testimony. Alrighty.
That night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on, The victim, he plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Then last hand is done, but something terrible has happened. The man flew at victim and is strangling him to death.
Incidentally, who won the game?
Isn't it obvious?
The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose. Justice? Maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection. But he hadn't lost in 7 years.
Shut your damn hole! And don't be a sore loser!
Incidentally, I have some evidence here.
Oh no.
These are the poker chips as they lay out the moment of the crime. The hand and chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. And at the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith.
Chips, you say?
Yes, imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils.
I know that, after all. In my youth, I was known as the poker head of courtroom number 3. I think he means poker face. Looking at this picture, it does seem the most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table. Alright. Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness. That faithful night. Alrighty, let's see here.
That night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players played with hat on.
often?
I am doing this. If customer wishes it, I serve anything. Borscht cards, or borscht. It is my work.
It's good to hear a place that hasn't forgotten the meaning of service.
Well, welcome you to Borscht Club, where borscht is as warm as the waitresses.
Thank you for not handing out flies during the cross-examination. Marion was cold. They both played with hats on. It's already April. How could it be cold?
At Borscht Bowl Club, we have pride on authentic Russian restaurant scene. Outside it is city in spring, but inside it is always as cold as Mother Russia.
No way am I going there.
When it comes to hot borscht, cold is best seasoning, da? The victim, he plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck.
Hold it! His locket?
I believe it was good luck charm, da? He gripped it many times as he played that night.
Yes, he must have felt as though it might carry him to the moon and the stars. Though if it were small enough to fit around his neck, he wouldn't have it much lift. Defense would like a clarification. This is a rocket we're talking about? I mean, a pendant with a picture in it, right? Not a rocket? Of course, I knew that. It was probably a pendant shaped like a rocket. That's why she called it that.
No, a locket's a locket. It doesn't matter what shape it.
It's considered bad form to poke fun at the hard of hearing in our society. Hard of hearing or hard of understanding?
So what happened next? Then, last hand is done, but something terrible has happened, da?
Hold it! Something terrible? The defense will refrain from needless shouting. Sorry. I need to seriously reconsider this whole training thing.
Now, Miss Orly, continue to tell us what happened. Oh, I was so frightened. I trembled with fear. That man flew at the victim and is strangling him to death.
Hold it! But the defendant would never do such a thing. Well now, I can't say I've ever heard the defense try this tactic. If possible, please, refrain from embarrassing me. Still, why would anyone do something like this over a game of poker?
Perhaps it is because defendant has lost game? Yes, a crashing defeat for a man undefeated. So it is always with men like him. Winners make sore losers. Oh, how the mighty fall.
Go ahead, I believe you know what it is you need to do. Right, sir. Wait a minute, she said strangling him to death. Hold on a second. Objection! He was killed by a blow to the head. Oh really, strangled you say? That's odd.
Duh, normal customers only chork on borscht.
No, I mean this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head.
Ah!
Miss Orly, really now? Did you witness the crime? I love that. It's so cute. Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything.
Yet it is a fact that he was hit, Your Honor.
Oh yeah.
Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation.
Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? This head certainly was hit. Crime photo number 2.
But I have seen it happen. The defendant, he lunged at victim his neck.
Oh really, Miss Orly? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice, I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think about this through once more. What do you mean? I found a contradiction. There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me. Very well. It seems we should continue the cross-examination. There's such a thing as thinking too much. There's such a thing as thinking too much. This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. There's such thing as thinking aloud too much, too. My customer asked for me to deal cards to him. It was cold. Victim placed this whole time and last. After defendant tried to strangle victim, he hit him with bottle. Let me press on that. Hold it! You didn't say anything about hitting before.
So sorry, I must be forgetting this, Dad.
Miss, you would take greater care with your testimony.
Oh, duh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. And that clears up the discrepancy with the autopsy report, I believe. The defendant needed to strangle his victim, then changes his mind, and chose a simpler, blunter means to do the job. Yes, that sums it up nicely.
He strangled him, then hit him? Sorry if I'm quiet, I'm trying to think about this. It's like, the bottle didn't work in the picture, and the picture of the wound didn't work either. So I'm thinking, like, I do think that the bottle would have at least been broken or something like that. Because, like, the bottle would have at least been maybe smashed. Maybe it's because I see that so much in movies when, like, you break a bottle over someone's head, it smashes. But there's probably something, like, also my memory's gonna be a little fuzzy because, like, I remember some things about this. Like, I remember this kind of scenario, but I don't remember the answers, obviously. I'm gonna try this picture.
Objection!
No, it doesn't work. Okay. Defendant tried to strangle victim. He hit him with bottle.
Objection!
Damn, it's not. I'm gonna try the phone. I'm trying everything. I know it's like. Usually when I try things, it like.
One eternity later.
Yeah, I've tried, like, I've used every photo. Like, I used everything in, wait a second, where's his locket?
Objection!
Found it! I found it! You know, there was one curious part in your testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said, but what does it mean? Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what is it you're thinking so intensely about? Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on locket at his neck, I believe she said. I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar. It was stolen, yeah. No, but look at this photograph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this. But
What does
it mean? If we are to believe this witness's testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death. Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor. It's simple when you think about it. The locket is gone, someone must have taken it off, no? Taken it off? Wait, you don't mean the defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it? Ah, ick.
Ooh hoo hoo.
Defendant, what do you have to say to this? Say, yes? I just noticed this, but you have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Oh? You mean this? Yes, it's a locket with a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter. Come again? Mr. Wright, you have a daughter?
We confirmed it at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter.
So Mr. Wright has a locket too? Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence? Well now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps we should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game?
Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear the defendant lost. Badly.
Miss Orly, you will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and the defendant.
Duh. The game began with 3,500 points in chips for each man. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning, it was victim. For last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabs bottle from table and...
Indeed, looking at this picture, it does seem to be a one-sided game.
As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow.
How many times have I heard these words? I done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor. A common tale, but true. He thinks the judge watches too many old court movies. Mr. Wright said he hasn't lost in 7 years, so this testimony must be wrong. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. Last hand?
It was largest points of any hand. The defendant's hand, it was excellent. He tried to use it to take victory from behind.
It appears that both the defendant and the victim's hands are in this picture. clearly an excellent hand, however, so is the victim's. One with highest number of wins, so defendant loses.
The victim, Mr. Smith, had a stronger hand than the defendant and crushed him. I believe that explains what occurred next. Once cards laid down on table, it happened.
The moment loss was decided, defendant. I'm gonna try this picture.
Objection!
No, doesn't work. Alright, never mind. Okay, I think my thing was wrong. 3,500 point in chips for each man.
Hold it!
Are those the usual starting points? Were there any special rules used?
No, not special. Usual game, usual rules.
Each man begins with 3,500 points, then the total would be, exactly 6. No, 7,000 points. Please, this isn't calculus. It's long division. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. Are the chips in this photo all the chips that were used?
Duh. Duh, of course.
Something's fishy with these chips. Should I press harder? I'm gonna press harder. Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips?
Explain? What is there to be explained? Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips, not chip off the old block or chip a motorcycle.
Thanks. Maybe I have to press try. I'd better ask something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars or rupees even?
Yet, as I have been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Hard perhaps for capitalists to understand. Two types of chips. 100 points and 1,000 points chip. It is not money, dog.
Justice, sir? Don't you find your comment interesting? In more ways than one, sir. I'd have it added to her testimony myself. Oh, the event was the witness add to yes, add to the testimony. That's gonna help. Yes, I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Add it to the testimony. Should we rose comments? Very well, witness, if you would be so kind.
Dog, Your Honor.
One kind of chip is worth 100 points, the other kind is worth 1,000, 2 kinds in all. So if they started with 3,500, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's about 10,000 points. That doesn't make sense. There are 3,500 points in total. 2 500s equal 1,000. So it'd be 7,000 points in total. And there's 10,000 on the table. Yeah, it's this one.
Objection!
There's 10,000 points in total. That doesn't make sense. You sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure? That math is weird, yeah. I think just, it's weird. It's not too hard to figure out. You just have to, like, think, okay, 3,500. The big one is 1,000, the little one's 100. If you see, it's supposed to be, and if you think about, okay, 35 to each man, in total that's 7,000, so if there's more than 7,000 points on the table, then that's rigged. That's a rigged game right there.
It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won, if you're not in kindergarten.
Just for safety's sake, can you explain the problem to the court? Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points?
Why, the big ones, of course, duh.
Oh, I thought so too. But then the totals don't add up.
The totals?
Each man started with 3,500 points in chips, and the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points. Yes, if my calculations are correct. Let's see, 3 plus 1 carry 5. They are, Your Honor. Now, look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points, and small chips are worth 100, and you add them up, how much is it? Do it yourself, you aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness's testimony. With your chips, in total, there's supposed to be 7,000 points worth, but because there's more, there's like 10,000 points, we're thinking it's rigged or that someone brought their own chips or he got more, so he cheated. The victim cheated, basically. That's what we're thinking about. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right, there's only one way to explain the contradiction. The chip count was wrong, or both were right, the starting points were wrong. Both were right. worth 1,000 points. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 1,000 for the black chip. So the black chips is all 1,000. And then 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Madness! Utter madness!
Show me that photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why? That does make 7,000 points when you add them up. Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself. Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it.
Wait! The chips may be different. That changes nothing!
Indeed, the victim did have the larger number of chips still. Ah! Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the pot and the victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points and the defendant had 4,100 points. Well now, it seems that Mr. Ray was winning that night after all.
That's impossible!
My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning. Now, Miss Orly, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you? Why does Payne look like a rat? He just does! He just does! Order! Order! It appears our defendant has lost his motive. Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. Let's now ask ourselves whether we can trust a witness's testimony. Excuse me? What is it, Miss Orly?
I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see, see what, Miss Orly? What do we see? In the last hand, there was a cheat. A cheat? You don't mean a trick?
Wait, or do you mean a scam? They're all the same.
Yes, there was cheat in last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are.
Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating? Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. Pretty interesting. Witness, will you please testify to the court? Tell us about this cheating in the final hand.